So let's talk about this schedule. Cody, you said it lines up pretty well, and I'm here to tell you, my mom was in the chat here a little bit ago, so you saw I do have two great grandparents that went to Oklahoma A&M. I very much have a soft spot in my heart
All
for the
right.
Pokes. Talk me through this. How are we going to get Oklahoma State to Arlington with this schedule?
Well, UT Martin's a W. Oregon probably lost. Tulsa is a W. Baylor's at home, and it's early, so I don't know if we get the best version of Sawyer Roberts or not, but maybe you could call that a toss-up. Arizona should be a W. Houston should be a W. Cincinnati, they kind of suck at football. That should be a W. We all know that Texas Tech has a lot of money. They have a cool coach, but they might be overrated. And by that point in the season, Baron Morton might not even be healthy. If Baron Morton plays, it's a loss. If Baron Morton doesn't play, that's a W. KU is going to be difficult. Kansas State's going to be difficult. UCF, we have some redemption to head back onto the bounce house. And I'm sorry, but Iowa State at home to end the season, it feels like a good opportunity for a possibility of a win. I think the basement of this team is 7 wins. I firmly believe that. And I think it's primarily because of the schedule. We don't play TCU. We don't play Arizona State, right? We don't play BYU. Mm-hmm. I don't know, man. I think it sets up pretty well for us.
Yeah, you avoid a lot of the heavy hitters, and like you said, the heavy hitters you do have, they're all there at the end. So ideally, if you're healthy, you're playing your best football. Reagan, what do you think? Just like overall thoughts on this schedule?
Well, I think all the top teams that we are lined up to play are arguably on a downtrend. So Oregon's not going to be as good as they were. We're still going to lose that game by 30 because we're just not going to have anything figured out at that point.
I don't know about that.
I don't know, man. I think
Dante Moore looked like
I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. But that offensive line that has been built in Oregon year in and year out now at this point is just, I mean, I don't see it with I don't see it. Maybe not 30, but I think multiple scores. That's not relevant. You look at Texas Tech upward. That's the one team that I think will be better than last, and that was an incredible game. So I don't know what's going to happen there. It's a toss-up for me. At Lubbock, I would be confident in saying we probably drop that one. But then you look at Kansas, they're going down. I have no confidence in KU this year. I think they're going to have a pretty bad year again. I really do. I know they brought in a couple guys that they're excited about, but I just don't see it. Kansas State is no one knows. I mean, K-State could go out and go 11-1 and shock nobody, but also go 7-5 and shock nobody. So I don't know. UCF, though, I think is going to be an interesting one. I think they're going to be worse this year. Same with Iowa State. They lost some seniority. Arizona's definitely going to be worse. Houston's not really going to be a competitive football team for a couple more seasons, but I think they're heading in the right direction.
I think Houston could sneak up on some folks this year. I don't know about in Stillwater, but like
I just don't see them being a team that goes into Stillwater, like you said, and wins. Sure, 7, maybe 8 wins. I'll give them that. Cincinnati, I have no concerns about. And, I think you look at the big games of the year are K-State, Iowa State, and Tech. What happens in those 3 games? Because, again, I think if Oklahoma State goes out and beats Texas Tech and Lubbock, I don't think you're going to be worrying about Iowa State or UCF on the back end of the schedule, and you can afford to lose one of the two between Kansas and Kansas State. But, again, I think that if I had to guess, this team 8 or 9 wins, maybe. If they put everything together, 10. I think that's the ceiling. He talked about the floor, but I think the ceiling is 10 wins for me.
Okay. I mean, I would not sleep on Baylor, especially early in the year there. Well, you're still figuring things out on the offensive line and whatnot.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to beat Baylor, but I'm not going to give them the satisfaction of saying that too loudly. Yeah. I'm just, dude, I like Sawyer Robertson. I like Dave Aranda, but they beat us in the Big 12 title game a couple of years ago, so I'm still pretty bitter about it.
Hey, you know what? You don't have to justify hating Baylor to me, okay?
Poo on the Baylor Bears.
I'm just happy we don't have to go. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it with the piss bowl, so I just don't want to go there. We don't have to go to Waco. They all yellows. I hate that stadium. I went there last year. It was the worst stadium experience of my entire life, and I've been to about 50 stadiums. Awful. Never go to Waco.
Not ideal. It's not ideal. Looks like a toilet. Yeah.
40-2. That's it.
Somebody said, why are KU tickets so expensive? It's not the new stadium. They only have half the stadium built. I think it's probably to pay off what they're playing Lance Leipold.
It'll be $22 by that point in the season, probably. So you don't got to worry too much.
Dude, I view KU the same as Texas Tech, right? If Baron Morton's healthy, I think Tech is a very good football team. I think the same can be said for KU. Without Jalen Daniels, they're a shell of themselves. So I think it's going to come down to the health of the quarterback for both of those.
I'm really not sold on Tech. Now, I haven't had Texas Tech night yet on the show. We will this summer, but I just don't know that bringing in that many transfers. I mean, yeah, you're spending a lot of money. That's great, but you can't just plug and play guys, right? In college football, I feel like there's a disconnect between like expectations and reality with all of these. Like, oh, we got the best edge from Stanford, and we got the best this from that, and here from there. I don't know. I don't. I kind of feel like we call them stand Aggies for a reason, right? I'm kind of thinking they spend a lot of money and win 8 games.
Well, I can tell you for what they are spending, they better win, or Joey McGuire is going to be on a really short leash because they're spending enough money to be competitive right away. Not just NIL, but they just rebuilt the football facilities and the locker rooms and all of that. So they're spending more money than anybody else in the conference outside of BYU basketball. So they need a good season. And I just think from a talent perspective, I'm a big Bear Morton believer. I think that he is one of the top 3 best quarterbacks in the conference for sure. And if he's healthy, I think that, well, what was it last year? When he was healthy, they went like 5-1 in the games that he started and completed the whole game. They were like 5-1. And it was pretty comparable the year before. They were like 3-1 in the games that he was healthy. So he's only lost like 2 games when he's healthy. The problem is he's about as healthy as often as Jalen Daniels. So you really don't know.
Yep. Yeah. Tech is 11-1 or 6-6, and there's virtually no in between for them. I feel like it's boom or bust. And I don't mind regardless. I know you're a TCU fan, so you probably can't stand the Red Raiders. But of all the teams, I feel like Oklahoma State and Tech relate a lot, unfortunately, as much as I hate to say it.
I mean, either one could say Xerox you about the other one.
Who?
Yeah, Baylor's our true nemesis. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's
I have a T-shirt that's the good, the bad, and the ugly. Baylor is the bad, and University of Texas is the ugly. Right, so that's SMU might be getting up there with ugly now. I mean, I do like that people are hating SMU as much as I do. Finally, right when we're about to cancel the series for no reason. But
when I think of TC, when I think of SMU, I think of like an overinflated midget wrestling tournament. I feel like that's how they operate their entire existence.
Yeah. Hey, I'm sorry. I love SMU. I have to because they put me in a group chat with all their famous Twitter people and the. Got it guy, and ever since they've just treated me with respect. So shout out to the Stangs.
I guess.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
We found at least one other OSU fan who's definitely rooting for y'all against Oregon. There's Clint in the chat with his.
There we go.
There we go.